All right, how's it going, everybody? Let's see. I think everything is working here. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Joe, also known as Approach Medium. Today, I'm going to just be doing a little route building here in Trainz Plus, which is Trainz 22. We've got a couple sales going on right now, so I'm here to just sort of promote the game a little bit, show you guys what you can do with the route building tools, and you know, answer any questions you guys have. I got about 2 hours I'm going to stream today, and then tomorrow I'll be doing another live stream from about 4 p.m. Eastern time to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you miss it today and you want to catch it tomorrow, I'll be back tomorrow. But this is just going to be kind of a casual route building thing. I've got a model railroad track plan here that I'm going to be working on. And yeah, we'll just kind of see what we can get done. And I'll try to keep an eye on the chat and answer any questions as they come in, but it's just going to be me today. There's no Paul or Zek. It is currently looks like about 1 a.m. in Australia right now, so it's just going to be me today. All right, so let's just get started here. This is the track plan that I'm going to be working with, and if you guys want to see any other routes or if you want to see any driving or anything like that, just let me know and we'll take a look. So right now I'm working on this waterfront area. That just seems like the most interesting area to start with for me. So I've laid out a few buildings here. I've already got the track all laid out and everything. And I just started to kind of rough in some buildings. And we'll just kind of see where things go today. I'm going to open up the track plan on my other monitor here so I can kind of look at it a little bit more easily rather than having to zoom out like this. And we'll see. Let's see what we could do here. Let me just check a couple things quick. Make sure the stream is streaming good. We are, why does this say unlisted on YouTube? Public. All right, maybe that'll help get some people in here. I don't know why that was unlisted on YouTube. Let me put a ping in Discord. All right, let's get to it then. I don't know why YouTube had it unlisted, but looks like now a couple more people have popped in. I'm gonna try to keep my eye on the chat here, and we'll see how this goes. So like I said, if you guys have any questions or if you want to see anything in particular, right now I'm just planning on working on this model railroad route. I do have some of my own personal routes that I could bring up too if you guys want to see that. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with some of the work that I do, but we could always take a look at that as well. So we got is like a little waterfront here, and let me just look at bring the track plan over so you guys can see it now that you're just joining in. This is sort of the idea of the track plan I roughed out here, and I think I want to work on this lower area here, and I'm kind of looking at the coal silos over here. We've got a cold storage, flour mill, and a few little industries around here. So let's see if we can find some buildings and start getting them down and see what we can do. Just move some things around on my monitor here. Cool. All right, that's much better. Great. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing well? Thursday morning here in the US. All right, let's see. So we've got coal silo, grain silo. Let's see if we can find like a grain. Where does that go? Oh, maybe it's just coal. I think it's supposed to be off this little spur here. So yeah, like I said, today I'm just going to be demonstrating some route building stuff. If you guys have anything you want to see or you want me to work on, just shoot it to me in the chat and we'll take a look. I can drive, I can route. I mean, route building is really more of my thing, so let's see if we can find like a coal unloading facility. So this route is kind of more modern day-ish, like 1970s, I believe, maybe. The prototype is the Delaware and Hudson. Let's see, EMT. So yeah, if you're just joining right now, we have got a couple of sales going on the Trainz store, and I believe the Steam sale, I don't know if the Steam sale has started yet or if it's starting soon, but we will have some deals on Steam going. So if you're interested in upgrading to Trainz 22, right now Trainz 22 is on sale for $17.50 for Trainz 22 Platinum, which I'd say is a pretty sweet deal. Right now I'm using Trainz Plus, which is Trainz Platinum plus some additional features like HD terrain and TLR, and I'm trying to think if there's another one. I feel like I gotta adjust the environment here a little bit. It's a little dark. What happened here? All right, so we're gonna have a small coal dealership here. And again, I'm just kind of mocking things up. Usually how I like to go about it. So we've got cold dealer and then some kind of a cold storage. I think JR has some cool buildings, although this Budweiser warehouse is nice. Oh, this one's much better. Yeah, that's nice. That takes up a nice amount of space too. We'll adjust our track to make that work. Again, like I said, this is supposed to be sort of a model railroad, so we got some freedom to, you know, modify things and tweak things as we see fit. And then let's see. Should be a small industry over here, which I use one of my assets called Gina's Bakery, and we'll kind of kit bash that together a little bit. Yeah, we're trying to do more live streams as we have time. I'm kind of supposed to be the live stream community manager person, so I'll try to make a point to do these a little bit more frequently. We were doing the training days, which was me, Paul, and Zach, but that's just hard to coordinate because I'm on the East Coast USA and they're in Australia, so it gets a little tough to coordinate. Like I said, it's about 1 a.m. roughly Australia time right now, and it's 11 a.m. here, so they're like 15 hours ahead. 14 hours. All right, let's see. So we should have a mill over here too. Let's see if there's actually a flour mill. No. This might be interesting. Cereal mill, yeah, that actually might work pretty good. So one of the cool things that we can do here in Surveyor 2 is I can bring this building up, and it's essentially floating, right? But now I can click on this little widget here, and I can hit this smooth ground underneath, and it'll actually fill the ground in underneath the hitbox of the building. So the hitbox of this building is actually a little bit smaller than the building, but it will fill it in underneath quite nicely. And then I could just use the grade tool to just fully bring it out. Then we've got a little foundational support underneath our floating building. That'll be pretty good. All right, that looks pretty good. And parallel, I like that. So just want to try to get some of these buildings down, and then what we'll do is we'll start kind of like scenicking things in. Let's see. I'm looking for a gas. So if we look at the map really quick, it says, I'm looking at right here, Forbes Gas. So maybe a little gas dealership building of some kind. It's like a gas station. The thing that I liked about this track plan is that it's compact, but it seems to have quite a lot of variety. And I always like a good amount of variety on a small track plan, you know? So maybe we could find like a tank and like a couple of buildings here, and we'll just sort of kit bash our own sort of gas distribution facility sort of thing. It's a big tank. I'm guessing this would probably be like just a small industry. Yeah, we'll make this work. We could put a couple tanks around and that sort of thing, like a little unloading platform, maybe. I might have to go to one of my other routes to get the asset that I'm thinking of, because I don't know what it's called. Yes. Let me exit out of this route and go to another one. Go to my P&B route here and grab an asset. It's also possibly streaming an older version like Trainz 12 or Tane. No, we're trying to promote our latest products. As mentioned, Trainz 22 Platinum is on sale right now for $17, $18. So what are we building today? We've got a small model railroad track plan that I'll be kind of building. Nothing really specific, like serious in mind to try to get done. We can kind of jump to other routes or other things if you guys are interested in seeing something else, but I thought it would be good to, so I want something like this. So what I'm going to do actually is with Trainz Platinum and Surveyor 2, we can copy this. I can take this. This is from one of my personal routes, and I can hit Control C, and it's going to copy those assets to my scrapbook. And now I could actually exit this map, go into the other map that I'm working on, and I can paste that down, and I can use that. So I'll show you how to do that. We can just, got that selected. I could just hit Control V. Actually, I want to do that. I want to put the filters on. I want to turn the ground height to none, no textures, meshes are going to be add, splines none, and effect layers none. And then I can paste just that little, just those couple of assets down. And that looks pretty good. I got to blow my nose. Sorry, guys. Any tips on building real-life routes like subdivisions? You got to have a lot of patience and dedication, because it's going to take you a while. I would recommend doing just a little bit at a time, maybe half a mile at a time. Just try to focus on one area or one town. I think a big mistake a lot of people make is they try to get, you know, let's say you've got a map that's 50 miles long, you know, you might try to cover as much of that 50-mile span as possible all at once, but you're really just not getting anything done because you're just spreading yourself really thin. So I recommend trying to focus on one town or one location at a time. Like right now, I'm just going to focus on this little part of the town or this little part of the model, and then get that done or get that pretty close to being done, and then move on to the next town or the next section that you want to work on. And that's a good way to kind of break it down, and then you're constantly making progress, and then it doesn't feel like you're just, you know, spinning your wheels and not getting anywhere. So that's my number one recommendation. Let me just check the stream health here and make sure everything's good. Yeah, cool. I wish I could move this chat. Can I pop this chat out? Chat overlay? No. It's just, I got the chat like all the way over on this other window here, and I want to pop it out. It doesn't look like I can. All right, I guess I'm gonna be like, maybe I could just change it on my screen here. All right, now I can see the chat a little bit better. So yeah, generally I recommend just sort of breaking it down into more bite-sized manageable pieces and then just sort of going about that. Oh, if you're trying to do a, so you're doing the BNSF, Birmingham Birmingham subdivision, you might want to try to get a DEM for it. That would be your best bet. So then everything is scaled properly and you're working with proper terrain and everything like that. Have I tested some of the new betas of the new trains with RTX? I don't think the game works with RTX yet. I could be totally wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it does not. That would be pretty dope, though. I will admit. But I don't think... I do have an RTX 4090, but I'm pretty sure it is not implemented. So I could show you real quick. You're asking me about the... we'll save this. I'll show you another map that I'm working on right now. You guys, if you watch my channel, you've seen it. It's the New York Cross Harbor. But I'm using a DEM for that. And it has Google map underlay. So I could show you what that looks like. Oh, I just realized what is happening here. Hang on, let me, I gotta go. I have a setting turned off. Let me, I gotta change screens on the stream for 1 minute here. Where is OBS? Okay, let me just, I have to relaunch the game. I had the shaders set to like basic, which if you're doing HD terrain, which is what I was doing, it's not gonna look right. All right. All right, there we go. So I'll show you on one of my routes here how you can use DEM. So you can see I've got all of the Google Earth tiles underneath, and these are their own, basically like asset, their own mesh. But that allows me to sort of like trace the world over top of it. And then along with the DEMs, you also get the terrain generated. But this is Brooklyn, so there's not really a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of terrain to generate, but it all is pretty much there. But to me, you know, one of the biggest features of using a DEM is the fact that you can look at the Google Earth underlay and you can see where the roads are and industries and that sort of thing. So recommend checking that out. Hello, everybody who's joining in. Hi. Happy Thursday. I was wondering why my terrain was looking kind of weird and lumpy. It's because I had the textures, or the shaders set to basic. Okay, where were we here? Bring my map back up. Yeah, real life routes are kind of challenging just because of the scale of them. They're so big. So they take a lot of time to really complete. All right, what other industries we got down here? We've got a freight depot, so let's see if we can find freight. Maybe I should have searched freight house, might have been better. Got this classic freight house here. If you've ever modeled in HO scale or N scale, this is like a Walters cornerstone kit. It might be a little bit big. We don't want anything too large for this. It's supposed to be HO scale model. I think we will just use, this one. I think that's just about the right size. And then there's some kind of a passenger, excuse me, passenger station over here. Which is kind of weird because this just sort of ends. Let's do... Yeah, we'll use one of these. for this particular project, I don't think I need it to be like functional. I don't think there's any other passenger stations on this route. I think it's just sort of a space filler on this particular project. Have I tested No, I don't honestly, I don't know anything about ray tracing. I have not heard any mention of that. I don't think that the game is going to get ray tracing. I could be wrong, and maybe Paul will correct me later on today, but I don't believe that ray tracing is a feature that's coming, but I don't know. I'm also not privy to all of the features and things that are on the way as much as I would like to be, but so let's see, there's supposed to be a road crossing somewhere in here. We can maybe, what's supposed to be, we can maybe move this guy over here. Maybe this siding kind of comes more like this. Oops. So we're gonna put a crossing, kind of a road right through here. And let's do, just for the sake of this, for fun, I'll do a handmade road, because why not? And why not? Let's find the texture that I usually like, which I'm pretty sure is this one. And do 10 meters, because that's about 30 feet. Is this the texture I usually use? No, it is not. Maybe it is. Just turn the scale down. I don't think that's the one that I usually use. Yeah, we use this one. So let's make our road go this way. And we'll kind of we'll clean it up as we go. I'm gonna switch. Well, let's see. Let's do. And I'm gonna switch to Surveyor Classic for this, just because I haven't found a better way to space out road markings. I like using the splines as a reference. White solid, because it's just like the perfect exact, if you go right to the edge of the spline circles, it's like exactly the right width for a road. But that's it. I like Surveyor 2 for everything else. You can change, for the grid, you can change the, I think you go to edit route, and then I think it's a region. Yeah, grid region. So you set it to grid region, and that'll give you the grid. The other thing that you can do that I think I did here is that you could just paint the grid down. Like you can it's the grid is an asset. It's a texture asset that you can paint. So you can just sort of do that. By default now it is like a grassy texture. All right, let's see what else goes on here. So I really just wanted to have a point of reference here for where the road is going to be. We can kind of create a grade crossing here. We'll do ground height, set height, and let's do 6.2. There we go. Then we can kind of create a bit of a crossing there. And then we can use the grade tool to smooth it out, so it's not such like an abrupt bump. Turn that up a little bit. Cool. So let's see if we can kind of maybe add, I was gonna say maybe we could add some ballast texture and start filling in some of the scenery, but we don't really have the buildings in place yet, so that makes it a little bit hard. So let's pick a building and sort of start with that. We've got some other buildings down here we can kind of work on too. A couple other warehouses. Let's just focus on this right now because we've already got that kind of going. And again, like I said, this is a HO scale model railroad, so we don't have to worry about it being too realistic. We just want it to kind of make sense as far as an HO scale layout would be. So let's start with this industry here in this area. It seems like a good place to start. We got a couple other little businesses that we can kind of place down over here. I think I might have a couple. Let's see. Could like slap this guy down here, and we could even kitbash it with this. Why not? Maybe put that guy there. What did I have? I had one of these assets. I can't remember what it was called. Can't remember what any of my own assets are even called. Gina's Bakery. This might be a good asset to use over here by the train station. Let's see. Tow jack, traffic stoppers, traffic lights, trash. Man, I can't. I might have to go to one of my other maps here and look at it again. We'll use this guy. Yeah, I do agree with you, Martin K. The real routes are much better than the model railroad style ones. But you know, they're a little bit more time consuming to build. That's the only downside. The model railroads, the thing that I don't like about doing the model railroad builds is that then there's this whole point you can like do the whole track plan and do all the detailing and stuff. And then there's a point where you have to start doing like the room that it's in and model like the fascia and the bench work and like walls and the floor and the ceiling and things that are in the room. And I really don't enjoy that part personally. This is the building I was thinking of. What, Factory 05. Why did that? It didn't come up before. Factory 05. And then I have another one. I'm trying to think of where I have it on my map here. Whatever, it's probably, whoops. So what I said was AM Factory 05. Yeah, I don't know how I overlooked that. That's the one that I wanted here, though. I have another one that would fit really good, too. Maybe I placed it over here somewhere. So I like kind of like laying out all the buildings that I might be able to use. Oh, this is the one that I was thinking of. What it is? Oh, storage house. Okay. All right, so we'll use these. Coron, you like my videos. Thank you. Appreciate it. One thing I like about Surveyor 2 is that when you're rotating assets, you can actually just key in the rotational value. And it just kind of works, which is really great. Although we're not on a perfect 180 degree turn. Let's see if we can match this up. The way I like to get my buildings like perfectly parallel with like track or roads is to just kind of inch them right up to the edge and then just sort of rotate them till it looks right. And now I can actually copy this value and paste it on this one. And now they'll match. So now we've got kind of like a, these two buildings kind of look good, kit bash together. Looks really dark from this side. Edit environment. Yeah, we're working on a just weird easterly, westerly lighting direction. Route building isn't easy, guys. It takes a lot of time. I've been route building in this game since 2003, maybe even 2002, when Trainz was UTC. That's what I started with way back in the day. So it takes a long time. I didn't really start getting good at route building until probably about 2014 or so. I mean, obviously I took some breaks here and there when I was in college and stuff like that. I didn't really play that much, but you know, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of practice, just like anything else. People always ask me, how do you get good at route building? Practice. You got to just experiment and see what works and what doesn't, try different things. You know, I'm at the point now the last couple of years that I got really bored with, you know, the limited number of assets that we have available, you know, all together for the game, and, you know, assets that I could bring in myself. So I started kitbashing stuff, and I'm just taking buildings and mixing and matching and, you know, making new buildings out of stuff I've used a million times before, you know, and that's a really great way to, I don't know if I want to use this building now, it's too big. You know, a really great way to reinvent, you know, the game or your build style, or, you know, change things around. So something tells me that we don't want this right, like this way. We want to flip it around the other way. Or, you know what we could do? Speaking of kitbashing, we will do this. We'll do a loading dock. I like using these. You can place these loading docks down and then kind of clip them into a building and sort of create like a artificial loading dock. So what we could do is just sort of move this back. Oops. You know, it's sort of, a lot of it is just like kind of, like I said, just experimenting, finding things like, oh, I don't want to, you know, I'm tired of using these same assets. Like, how can I make things interesting again? Or how can I make this look like how it looks like in real life, just with, you know, the things that I have available to me? I like that. I like that as a challenge, you know, when you're building something real from real life, you know, and you're like, okay, how can I work with the assets and the things that I have at my disposal and really, you know, make this look like the real thing? So we can do something like this. That looks kind of neat. This building isn't really that great of an, you know, option for doing that. Actually, maybe we could do this. Let's get these guys out of the way. This building is a little bit better for this sort of thing. So we just kind of like line it up so that the doors look like they're going to go into the right place. We can kind of do a little fine adjustments, cover things up a little bit. We could even kind of put like a fake brick wall back there or something, because that doesn't have that right now. We could do something like this. Take something like this and kind of find the clipping point. We want it kind of just behind the doors. This is the kind of tedious stuff that I always find myself getting involved with. Could even maybe just move that forward a little bit. And then if I grab this spline, so if I want to just grab the splines, I can just do filter selection. Now I can like raise this up. I could even just bring this, if I wanted to, you know, the whole length down. Could do something like that. Or if that looks kind of weird, we could do this. Select both of these and just lower it a little bit. There we go. We've got kind of a little kit bash. We can kind of hide that seam a little bit with some other stuff. We could even put another building in front of it if we wanted to. I'm not going to do that though. but we could do something along these lines. So we've got this other industry here, right? So here we could do kind of the same thing with this building. Let's rotate this around. Let me check the chat. Does anybody get any questions? Oh, I hate the grid now, man. I gotta, as soon as I can cover it up, I gotta cover it up. Because I get, like, kind of stuck on, it's almost like coloring in the lines, you know what I mean? Like, I see the grid and I feel like I have to, like, build with it. Bit of a character flaw on my part, I suppose. But yeah, I do recall those days. Those were really frustrating days. It's funny. Funny you bring that up. All right, so what we can do here is we can grab the rotational value from this one, and it should match. Paste it on there, and this might make a little bit more sense to have a loading dock on this side. I do still like using the grid to get things, you know, perpendicular, or, you know, perfectly on a 90 degree. It is really helpful for that, but don't let the grid dictate how you build. I can tell you that much. So that's cool. That looks good. I like that a lot. We got, looks like 17 people watching on YouTube. That's cool. We got 2 people on Twitch and 1 person on, what is this, Facebook? 27 people on Twitter. Wow. What's up, everybody? So I'll just mention it again if you're just tuning in. We do have some sales going on right now. If you go to the Trainz store, Trainz 22 Platinum is only $17.50. Trainz Platinum 2019 is $10. And I believe the Steam sale is going to be starting pretty soon as well, if Steam is the platform of your choice. So yeah, this is a good chance for you guys to get a copy of that. Obviously, we also have Trainz Plus, but there's no sale on that. Trainz Plus is what I'm using right now, which is basically Trainz Platinum, Trainz 22 Platinum, but plus all of the additional features. Oh, we're covering up our track here. Oh, that's all right. No, we'll just shorten this. Yeah, we could even sort of maybe, I don't know, let's, I hate when there's like weird gaps between buildings. So I always feel the need to try to fill that in somehow. And I don't love the gap between these 2 buildings, but you know what, maybe we'll just leave it. Let's put those guys off to the side there. That's starting to look pretty cool. That's shaping up into something I like. That looks good. This looks cool. We could do is we could put do a couple of my little brownstone buildings here. Kind of make this feel a little bit more like a town, right? So let's do that. Let's add a sidewalk actually first. I like doing cities. I like doing like industrial, urban, dense scenes, you know. So let's do that. Let's make something along those lines. And again, I'm gonna switch to Surveyor Classic just for this, because it does help me with the spacing when working with splines, particularly with hand-laid roads. And I'll show you in just a second here. So actually, let me show you with Surveyor Classic going. You can see the spline circles here. If I get like a vehicle, let's do HP car, because that's what we always use. Let's find like a decent one. So you can see that I've got this car here. And if I go back to the splines, you can see that if you line up your splines like right to the edge of the spline circle, it's like perfectly the right dimension for one car. So that's why I like to use Surveyor Classic, because in Surveyor 2, we can't see that. So, and I left this big gap here for like a parking lane, which could probably be a little bit smaller, but. TK Productions, thank you so much. Appreciate it. What is the idea of what I'm building? Okay, so yeah, for you guys that are just sort of tuning in, this is just an idea that I had. I've got this track plan here. I think it's from one of the model railroad. It's obviously from one of the model railroader magazines. I can't remember which one. It's called the Dutchess and Hudson Valley Railroad. It's a Delaware and Hudson HO scale model railroad. I ported the map in, so I've already got the track laid out and everything, and I just thought it'd be a fun build to do, just sort of from scratch. I didn't really have anything already done on it. It was really just the track laid out. So I thought it was a good way to demonstrate the abilities of Surveyor 2 and, you know, route building in this game and just sort of starting from scratch rather than jumping into a project that I'm already got like partially developed or something along those lines. So we're going to work on this for a little bit. If you guys have something else that you want me to work on, if you want me to drive some trains, I could do that. My thing is more route building, so that's why I'm kind of focused on that. If you're not interested in this route and you want me to work on a different route, I'm happy to do that as well. We're just sort of open to demonstrating, you know, how the game works right now and just promoting the sales that we've got going on right now. So I'll be live streaming today. I've got another hour and 10 minutes that I'll be streaming today. And then tomorrow I'll be doing another live stream from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're watching today and you want some more tomorrow, I will be back tomorrow afternoon. But we'll see what we can get done today. And again, like depending on, you know, how you guys are feeling about what we're doing, you know, I can switch it up. We can work on something else. I'm open to anything. Obviously, you guys know me. I've got a bunch of projects. Well, not. Maybe you guys don't all know me. I shouldn't assume. It's bold to assume everybody knows who I am. But I obviously always have a lot of projects going on. What am I doing here? So I'm always happy to jump on to, what am I doing? This value. No. Why? Why did that not work? There we go. Just pasting the rotational value into the wrong field. There we go. So let's see. Maybe that's not perfectly rotated. Maybe we want it to be a little bit better. Get like a little cluster of brownstone townhouses here. Maybe we could squeeze in one more. Do we have one that's like boarded up? I know I have one that's boarded up. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Nope. Build some suspicious activities going on in a back alley. Hey, you know, this is meant to be a PG stream, so gotta keep things family friendly here. One of the things that I really like about Surveyor 2 is this ability to like multi-select. Like I can grab all of those buildings and move them together as a group, instead of having to do them one at a time like we used to. So that looks pretty neat. We could always do... We should probably have some cutouts here for the sidewalk as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. Could always put, let's see... So like I said, this is a Delaware and Hudson themed route, so it's going to take place probably in the probably the 1970s or so. Let's put a gas station over here. So that's just gonna sort of motivate the decisions of, you know, what assets will be good to use. I'll just slap that down. 256, that's not it's definitely not the price of gas back then. 89 cents, there we go. And we'll do a couple of those. All right, so that rotational value does not match. What is this anyway? All right, we'll leave that one out. Oh, here, we'll use this. That's easier. So I like the idea of having a gas station here. And then this is sort of going to be the edge, the front edge of the layout. So I don't know if really like a coal dealership would make sense here, but I guess maybe because it's the D&H. They were like a coal hauling route, right? What track am I using here? Let's switch this track out real quick. Is this procedural? It is procedural. Wait a minute. Let's switch this track out for the JR, this track. We'll do... I don't know. Do I really want to do this now, actually? I think gray 3 is what looks good. Yeah, I like gray 3, and we'll do, since we're down here, let's bulk switch all of this. We'll do 136. No, let's do 115. Jointed. And that's clean, right? Yeah. Depends what part of the 70s we're talking. Yes, there was a fuel crisis in the 70s, so really depends on, I guess, what part of the 70s you want to model. I'm not that old. I did not grow up in the 70s, so I don't know those details specifically, but I do recall growing up in the 90s, gas being 89 cents, so I'm gonna just base it off of that. Let's switch this track for some more beat up track. We'll go so GR3. We'll do rusted. Oh, that's SP. GR3 rusted and jointed. So let's replace that section. There we go. So we get some lighter weight rail on the siding, and it's nice and rusty. I do have a Polish surname, yes. My grandfather was off the boat from Poland. I don't speak any Polish, though, unfortunately. I wish I knew more, but like more about the culture. So I think, does this sidewalk have a cutout? I don't know, it's the Yarnish ones that do. So for this, we can do is Could always just set this to a fixed height, which, yeah, we do that. And we can kind of smooth that out a little bit more. Go to insert a spline point there, and maybe one there. Oops, did I not click that? We could delete that. Put that there. Just kind of craft a little scene here. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy. So this is sort of our mainline track here. And these are all industrial tracks. So let's do... trying to think of how this crossing would work. You'd probably have... I think there's a wishbone, right? Or we could do like an old cantilever. That's pretty neat. Guess the thing is, we would probably move our sidewalk in. So we'll use these, and maybe over here we'll do, let's do a little something fun with the sidewalk. We'll do insert spline there, and we'll insert spline here. I can kind of just drag this whole thing over so it'll be sort of a no parking area. We'll straighten that part, and we'll straighten this. And then with HDT, we can kind of smooth it out. We'll do the grade tool, and I'll just drop this down to like 4 meters. And I can kind of, I could even go smaller. Let's do 2 meters. And then I can kind of get my curb back while not affecting our like bump in our crossing there. Obviously, I'll put some crossing, whatever, planks. That'll be cool. Now we got a little scene coming together. Let's do a little save. Just make sure you can never be too safe. And lower that a little bit. And we probably want to have one of these wood crossings, is my guess. So these are kind of nice. You could kind of layer them together. So you can get kind of a little bit more of the size that you want. I'm pretty sure that would cover the sidewalk, right? Yeah. And we'll do, not that one. We'll do this style over here. Just to have something different. Because this is a siding. There might not even be a you know, one of these things here. Well, let's see. Let's get our height here, 6.18. Is that right? Ground height, set height, and let's just make it 2.5. Just don't want too big of a bump here, right? There we go. Although it's pretty outrageous over the sidewalk, so maybe we won't use these ones. Let's get rid of these. We use these. Maybe the sidewalk is just... Did the height of the sidewalk change? That's sort of what it seems like. I don't want too much of a bump, but I also don't want too much clipping. We'll put this guy over here. I don't know, would this guy be on the sidewalk? I'm never sure. Maybe this guy should be out here. Cool, that's coming together. Let's slide these over a little bit. All right, neat. Let's see, we'll bring in our parking lot a little bit more here. We'll just say it's gonna cover this. I really like the HD texturing tool because you can really like get such a fine area textured as opposed to just having to deal with all this texture spill all over the place. It helps quite a lot. Do I have PBR textures that I like? I don't know. Let's see. I do have a PBR list. I always use these city street textures. Big fan. You know, we can kind of really get in pretty tight, which is just awesome. Again, we do have to deal with 16 texture maximum per baseboard, which kind of stinks, but you know, it's really not that big of a deal. But you know, with Surveyor Classic or non-HDT, we weren't able to do this degree, like have this amount of fidelity in texturing, so this is super nice to do. I'll show you one of the other cool things that you could do with Surveyor 2 is this texture under command. Let's find a ballast texture that we like. I think a lot of times I'll use this city texture. We'll do this. We'll do two different textures underneath. So I want to show you, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my radius to 6 meters. All right, and I'm going to select a section of track here, and this is gonna mess up my road, but what I'm gonna do is select that track. Let's do this section because I'll be able to see it a little bit better. And now what I'm gonna do is do paint under selected, and what it did was it obviously it textured that texture underneath my track, but it used the radial value that I had set up here. So what I'm gonna do is, that's my like sub texture. I'm gonna set this now to 4 meters. And I'm going to find the other texture that I want to use, which is this one. And now I'm going to do paint again. And now I've just quickly ballasted my track. Obviously, you know, I went over the crossing here and I screwed that up, but that's easy to fix. But now I've very quickly ballasted my track and I've added like a sub layer of texture and as well as ballast texture. Yeah, you should probably use more than one texture per baseboard. Pro tip, use more than one texture. So let's do that over here too. So I had it set to 6, and this is just my technique, but you know, it's a good way to get an area ballasted kind of quickly and textured. So let's just do this, even though I know I'm going to go over top, and I'm going to select all this track. And maybe we'll even do the... So I'm holding shift while I'm selecting the track so that it keeps selecting more of it. So I've got it set to 6 meters, which is what I'm going to use right now. We're going to paint under selected. I'm going to change this to 4 meters. And then I'm going to go to the other texture that I want to use. Paint under. Sometimes it takes a second. The smaller you go with the radius, the more it takes. Or the longer it takes. So we'll just cover that back up. Now we've got nicely ballasted track. You know, if you've already got, really you should do that last. You should do your regular ground texturing, you like your grass and all that kind of stuff first, and then do that ballasting step. But it's not the end of the world. Let's put up a little fence here. Let's do... What is it? How do you spell corrugated? C-O-R-R. Let's do a little fence here, just for our little gas station. Maybe we'll do one here too. Maybe we don't even want that much. Just kind of a little bit. That's starting to look like a little scene here. That's not bad. Not bad at all. We probably want to have some kind of crossbucks. Do I don't want anything too worn out, right? So, I mean, this is just a industrial spur on this track here, so we'll just throw these down. Same with this. In fact, if I really want to make it easy for myself, I can just grab these and then hold Control, and now I can just copy them. Cool, that looks good. All right, let me look at my map here, or my track plan rather. Let's see what else we want to do. Maybe we can work our way this way a little bit. So this is our main line. Main line. It's really, we're on like a branch here. I guess I'll show you the whole track plan, right? It's been a minute. So this is what we're working on if you're just joining in now. Dutchess and Hudson Valley Railroad from Model Railroader Magazine. And we're working on the little seaport branch down here, which, I don't know, to me just seemed like the most fun to kind of start with. I guess the thing that's fun about model railroads is that they're so compact, you know? So there's supposed to be another road over this way that kind of goes into the distance. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just trying to think of like this whole... how I want this whole thing to come together. Let's just kind of start getting some other textures down. Like I said, you probably should do this before you do any of your ballasting because you're probably going to end up covering it up. But I just wanted to demonstrate that paint under technique, which I'll show again in a minute because we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to redo it. So usually when I'm building, I like to just get like a base, like kind of gritty grass texture put down. And this is kind of nice. This is PBR City Dirt 04 by S. Myers. It's on the download station. One thing when you're using HD terrain and you're using PBR textures, if you're used to building with, you know, in Trainz 2019 or Tane or Trainz 2012 even, you know, when we used to texture back in those games, you'd want to hold down the rotate tool and rotate the texture and, you know, spin it to get some more variety and then overlay a bunch of other textures and spin those. You don't want to do that with PBR textures, and you don't want to do that when you're texturing with HD. The reason being because, well, I don't really know what the reason is, but I can tell you what happens. When you do that, you start getting these kind of like crisscrossy, blocky patterns begin to form. So you don't want to do any rotating unless you absolutely have to. Just keep the texture at its default rotation, and I usually try to keep the texture at the same scale as well. So right now, some of these look best at the smallest scale you can possibly use. So I'll just try to leave it at that. But sometimes you want it to be a little bit higher. All right, so we got this ice and storage house. You know what? Let's slide this down a little bit. We're getting a little cramped in here, but I don't think it's a big deal. And what we'll do is we could put in a road that comes here, and then maybe there's just a little parking area here for the people who work here. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Cosmo, we're just starting to do this stream thing. This is all new, so it's not bad that you didn't know that we didn't stream because we're just getting started. We're gonna try to make it a little bit more of a frequent occurrence, but yeah, it is a new thing for us. So if you guys like it and you know, we got a lot of views and it benefits you guys, we'll do some more live streams. I could definitely squeeze some more live streams in when I'm doing route building and stuff. That's what I mostly do for N3V right now. So yeah, if you guys like that, just let us know. Put a comment in whatever channel you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and let us know if you want to see more of these streams and, you know, I guess specifically what it is you like to see. My specialty is route building, so if you're seeing me, I'm probably going to be doing route building. But if there's other things you like to watch, then let us know. We'll see what we can come up with. Let's get a fence here. So yeah, if you guys don't know, for N3V, well, I do, right now I'm doing a lot of like route building and stuff for them, but I also produce the videos, and now obviously I'm doing the live streams as well. So I do pretty much all of the content not pretty much all the content, but I do a lot of the forward-facing content that you guys are probably seeing a lot of times. All right, so what other textures can we work in here? We need to find like a good grass texture. Let me see, let me check my PBR pick list here and see if I have a good grass that blends with this, because the city grass texture is just this sort of rough stuff. So this one looks pretty nice. So we can squeeze in like just a little bit here. I could do like a little 2 meter, you know, grass on the edge. Kind of clean up the edge of our road. You know, we can kind of get a little grass in here. Again, like I said, you don't want to do any rotational stuff. If you keep your sensitivity at 20%, you could turn it down. You still get that sort of airbrushed, you know, faded look, which I like. Yes, it was a train horn. Right outside of my window is New Jersey Transit. I live right at the train station, so that's what you heard. It gets very loud and irritating. But yeah, I do. I live right at the train station. I hear the horns all night long. So we can kind of work in some more textures here. Doesn't have to be perfect just yet. So like I said, there is a 16 texture limit. So I'm trying to be conscious and mindful of what textures I am using and where I'm using them. Because what'll happen is once you hit that limit, it will, it will start removing other textures from the route. So I'm trying to avoid that. I don't want that. But if you know, really pay attention and you're conscious of what textures you're using and how you use them, it won't be a problem. You can still blend textures however you like. I always like to mix and match. Get some really grungy, gritty textures. Mix them with some nice clean textures. We could even do, before we run out of textures, we still have a lot of room. I wish there was a little ticker that told you how many textures you've used so far per baseboard. That would be useful, but they haven't implemented anything like that yet. I would like to see that though. We can make this a little larger. Kind of get a little bit of a blend. So you can kind of see I'm getting some of this, these sort of blocky textures on the edge here. I think that has a bit to do with the scale, some like changing the scaling of it as well. So we just have to kind of go back over top of them here and there. That'll cover them up. But I will be perfectly honest, that happens to me quite a bit where I'll start getting these blocky textures and I don't always know exactly how to remedy it. Usually just do a couple passes, a couple different textures over top, and eventually goes away. Can't wait to get the new P&B. Awesome. I love hearing that. I'm excited to get it out to you guys. I'm very, very close to getting it out. So maybe another 2 weeks or so. Very, very close. Are you going to fix the bogey stuff in 22 in SP2? I don't do any of the content stuff. I'm not aware of that. If there is an issue with something, you can submit a ticket to the help desk and mention it. But I'm just making content like routes and videos and stuff like that, so I don't know. I can't answer that. A parked pickup truck in the area between those tracks. Yeah, we'll get some more little things in there. So let's add, let me save. I'm like an obsessive saver. So this is kind of like starting to look pretty cool. Let's add some cross bucks. Again, actually, you know, I can just take these and copy them. Sort of just roughly get them into place. I like that. And can I change the lighting here a little bit? I know I've been keep going back and forth with it. Just try to brighten it up a little bit so we can see what we're doing. What is that's the sun color. Okay, let's make it a little warmer. Okay, now we can kind of see a little bit better. It might be a little unrealistically bright, but now we can kind of see what we're doing. All right, so let's add, yeah, man, now it's like super bright. let me dial that back a little bit. Back pedal just. Okay, that looks a little bit better. All right, looking good, looking good. Okay, let's think about what else we can add. We can start. Oh, let me go back to our ballast. Let me add a little bit more grass and stuff like that. I just don't want to like redo things a bunch of times. It's not my favorite thing to do. So let's do the ballast trick again. We've got our PBR, like our really gritty texture. I had that set to 6 meters. And let's see, we're gonna do this section because that's what I went over top of. We'll do paint under with that. And then we'll grab our other texture, drop it down to 4 meters. And we'll do paint under with that. And then we're just gonna grab this, get our crossing kind of put back in. And we probably want to raise up. Let me see if I can get the height value of this again. I think I did 6.25, I think was what I had before. Yeah, 6.25. So we'll do ground height, set height, and I'll turn the sensitivity all the way up because I just, whoop. So I want the track to stay on the ground though. So I'm not sure how to do it in Surveyor 2, but in Surveyor Classic, what we'll do is just lock that spline point into place. There we go. I don't know why. Of all the spline points, that one wanted to just follow the contours of the ground. All right, so now let's go back to ground height, set height, and what did I say? 6.25. And we'll make this about 4 meters. And there we go. And we can set this to grade and then just sort of smooth it out so it's not this giant lump in the road. Although that's not too far off from how it is in real life sometimes. All right, now we're getting somewhere. No, so this is the, what is this called? Dutchess and Hudson Valley Railroad. So this is the track plan here. And we are working in this lower waterfront area here. Yeah, it is kind of similar to the Boston and Maine. I know which one you're talking about. It's slipping my mind right now. I got streamer vision, streamer brain. But working on this area down here in the lower right, and I don't know. I'm just trying to develop a little scene here and see what we can kind of come up with. But yeah, this is the HO track plan that I'm working with. Again, if you guys want to see something different, if you want me working on a different route, some of you guys know some of the projects that I'm working on personally. I'm happy to work on that stuff too. But it's up to you guys what you want to see. I've got about 30 minutes left on the stream today, and I will be back streaming tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, so let me know what you guys want to see. I will be back again doing it tomorrow, and then I got to set some times for next week. I'm sure I'll be back next week. Maybe I'll talk to Paul and we'll set up some schedules for next week. I could always try to make this like a weekly thing too if you guys are enjoying it. And of course, I just want to mention again that we are running a couple sales right now. Trainz 22 Platinum Edition is on sale for $17.50. That is a bargain. Trainz 2019 Platinum is $10. And that is on the Trainz store, store.trainsportal.com. We're also running some sales on Steam, as well as I think there's sales on the Trainz store just for like any DLC, if there's any DLC that you're interested in. So definitely go check that out if you're interested, especially if you're interested in upgrading to Trainz 22 Platinum. This is definitely a good time to do it. $17 is it's a pretty good price. All right, excuse me. All right, what else we want to do here? I want to start adding in some vegetation, right? So I know there's some JVC shrubs that I like to use, but I never can remember the names of them. I think it's these. So we can kind of work these in. Maybe I don't want to. They're pretty fat. I don't know if I want to use these. Let's not do that. Let's use some RMM Cust shrubberies. These are some of my favorites to use. Just have to find the ones that I do like to use. These are also from the download station. Really great variety. There's a whole lot of them. These ones are great. These like linear looking ones. So we could just kind of throw one here. Do I recommend any good PBR trees? The best trees right now that you can use are the RMM trees. So they're all on the download station as ST_RMM, and they are made by, I think, somebody with the username of RMM. Unfortunately, in the future, these are all based on Speed Tree. Speed Tree is going to be phased out in favor of the new vegetation system that N3V is developing. But I think that that's still a little ways off, so you can keep using the RMMs right now. But these are some of my favorites to use. And I guess before I like close out the stream, I'll show you guys, I'll go over to my P&B map, because that's the most complete route that I've got right now that I can kind of show off. And like in the last 10 minutes, I'll just kind of fly around, show you guys what, you know, the game is capable of. If you're not familiar with my own personal channel, I don't want to sit here and promote it because that's sort of like a conflict of interest. I don't want, you know, N3V to think that I'm sitting here promoting myself, but I'm trying to show off the game. So let's just kind of get a couple little things in here. I don't really like those. We got a couple of shrubs, and then the Yasin trees are pretty nice. Kind of squeeze a couple in. Obviously, I'm kind of glazing over some details at the moment, but I'm just trying to get like a smattering of things done on this little map here while we're here. while you guys are all here. Just to demonstrate, you know, some of the things that you can do. Maybe we want to go over this again with our ballast texture like I had. So let's do that because I covered it up a little bit. 6 meters. Let's see if we can kind of squeeze in a little parking lot here. Yeah, we got room. Just a little spot for people who work here to park, I guess, right? Do I know when the next Trainz Plus update is coming and if the paint under select tool has been fixed? I don't know when the next update is coming. It probably will be soon. And I don't know if that has been fixed or not. I'm not sure what the bug was because I'm using the paint under tool right now without any issues. And I'm just using regular Trainz Plus. Yeah, bring us a shrubbery. Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not really privy to a lot of that kind of information, like the developer information and stuff like that. I wish I knew a little bit more, but that's really more of a Paul thing, and he is sleeping right now, so. So yeah, I can't answer that. I really don't know. Let's put a couple shrubberies here. Sort of delineate our little parking lot. Maybe we could do a little something like this. Sometimes you just gotta just make things up. That's exactly what I'm doing here. What happened to Main Central? Man, I get asked that quite a lot. The route got corrupted, like irreparably corrupted. So we tried to fix it. We tried to revert things and we tried to bring it back to life, but it just got so corrupted that it wasn't really worth the time to try to make it work again. So I had to kind of just abandon it and move on to something else. So yeah, unfortunately that's a dead project. I would like to think maybe I could go back to that project one day, but I'll be honest, I'm not really sure if I'm terribly interested in it again. So I don't know. Yeah, that it kind of stunk because we put a lot of time and effort into it, and then it was generated with a DEM, and then I forgot exactly what happened. The DEM got corrupted and all of the terrain data was lost, and it basically the route just turned like flat. And then tracks started to revert and all sorts of weird stuff was happening. I think it was at the time, can't remember what happened. There was an update in the game that sort of like broke DEMs or something like that, and that's sort of when that happened. It was just bad timing is really what it boiled down to. So, yeah. I still have it. Every once in a while, I'll kind of open it up just to like look, just to see like, is it still broken? And it is. It's still broken. What track am I using? This is the new track, RTXT. It's over on Jointed Rails website, jointedrail.com, free download. So it is procedural tracks, so it does generate the frogs and the points, and they are animated. When you switch the track, it does move. Very, very, very nice track. It comes in multiple weights, 136 pound, 115 pound, and 90 pound. As well as jointed and not jointed, as well as clean and rusty. And there's also a street running version, which is just the rails only. And there is a version that has no ballast as well. So a lot of variety. Very good looking track. Highly, highly recommend it. Definitely check them out. Throw down a few more little shrubbery things here, because why not? We could even slide this whole building over a little bit. Why not? Make it a little less cramped. So it's looking kind of cool. Let's maybe take one of these crash barriers and put it like here. You know, just to keep people from driving from one parking lot to another. It's pretty cool. So that's shaping up pretty nice. Let's, I was gonna say we could add some power lines in. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Let's see. What do I usually use? Usually use the Laurel line poles. I don't know which ones I usually use. I don't want any big beefy ones. There we go. That's what I usually like. Laurel line number 5. You know, if you guys have ever watched any of my videos and my streams, I always talk about how much, like, once you add power lines into a scene, like, it makes such a huge difference. It really, like, for some reason, it just starts to kind of bring it all together. Let's go here. You know, for what I always call it visual noise. So it just sort of brings in that element of visual noise where there's just a little bit more going on in the foreground and in the background, and it's just one more layer of things to look at. Like, that looks pretty good, you know, just in a couple minutes, just throwing down those power lines and the fence, just a couple little details here and there. You know, nothing crazy. I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on any one of these scenes in particular, so I'm really throwing this stuff together pretty quickly. I'm a big fan of these JVC trackside splines as well. They just look really good, like fluffy trackside grass. They're a little washed out right now just because of the lighting that I have, the environmental lighting. I'll show you in my other map in a minute here, but they're just like really nice, like low growth fill. So really like those. Paint under selected bug explained. Paint a street with the following settings. Set the radius to 6 meters, the sensitivity to 100%, and the scale to 1. Yeah, so it must only be broken in the beta build because that's what I've been doing here. That's exactly what I was doing here, actually. I'll do it again. Let's do paint under 6. And I've got the sensitivity to 20%. I'm imagining it probably doesn't make a difference. And then we'll do paint under. And it does it just fine. And then I can go over top of it, which is what I've been doing. Again, with a smaller size. So I'm wondering if maybe that's a Trainz Plus beta bug. Because this is right now I'm working in the Trainz Plus public, you know, the stable build. So that might be it. You're not the first person to mention that, though. I feel like I've heard it before. Let's tune that up a little bit there. Got a little bit of a kink in our track there, but I'm not terribly worried about that. Doesn't look too bad. SP3 bugs, I don't know. I'm not privy to any details on bug updates or really when updates are coming. That's not it's not something I'm usually aware of. Let's put down some grass. At this point, the grass to really use would be like clutter, but personally I don't know how to use it. So I'm still using spline grass. It just works for me. I wish I knew how to use the clutter stuff. Somebody needs to like sit down with me and show me. It's just above my head. All right, that's looking good. Let's do a quick save. All right, looking good. Yeah, so for just a couple of minutes of building, it's not looking too bad. Let's make this parking lot kind of beat up. Nice. Move that up a little bit. And normally I would put like some garbage and stuff over there, but I'm not going to have time today to really figure out what I want to use. So we'll just throw some grass. And we'll put some more of this JVC trackside stuff over here. Kind of make it overgrown. It's good. I think we could do like derelict. If we search derelict, we'll get some, there's a lot of good derelict assets. So normally I would probably take some time to find some cool derelict items, barrels, junk piled up. I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. It's also possible to copy and paste. Like I've got a bunch of scrap yards on my own routes that I kind of like sometimes just go through and copy and paste that kind of stuff in. We can move this. Maybe that'll look good like over here, tucked in this corner. like this compressor. Always like, whoops, not that one. The metal sheets. That's always a good one. Kind of sink it down a little bit and pile up some of these barrels. Make a couple copies. That over there. This thing. That barrel there. Put like an old mattress over here. Why not? Always a big fan of the newspapers. I think that these newspapers on the ground are a great detail to kind of sprinkle around these urban environments. Yeah, and there we go. Pretty quickly. Let's see if there's a derelict car. You know, we could put like this guy here. Let's kind of back him up. Maybe we'll switch these. This guy is... Oops. Permanently parked there. This dude is kind of there. There's some other like beat up cars. I can't think of their names. It's never exactly what I, think it would be called in my head. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to save this. I'll go over to one of my routes, my P&B route, which is almost done, ready to be released, and just show you guys really quick, what if you're new and you haven't seen like what you could do with this game. I'll show you that. Actually, you know what? Before I even do that, let's go. Now I'm missing assets there. Yeah, I'll just show you this really quick, and then that'll be it for today's stream. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll work a little bit more on that route, or you guys can leave a comment. Let me know what else you'd like to see. But this is a route right here that I've been working on for like a decade, probably more than a decade. But everything here I put down. This is a totally fictional route that I've designed. It's quite large, but this should just give you kind of an idea of the scale that you can build yourself if you haven't used any of the route builders before. There's lots to build, lots to see. Surveyor 2 is been, kind of a real game changer for me in terms of building. It's just much faster to lay things out. Like I was saying just a second ago, if I wanted to like quickly maybe get some trash and stuff like that, I've got a scrapyard over here that I could just sort of draw out a marquee and, copy and paste some of this stuff from one route into another. So it is totally possible to do that sort of thing, which is great. Surveyor 2 has made that a lot faster. Oh, yeah, so here's all the derelict cars I was talking about. And they've probably got different names. Oh, scrap. Car scrap. I should have looked that up. Or derelict truck. Either way, you guys get the idea there. But the possibilities are pretty endless. This is just one of the routes that I've been working on for a really long time. Another route that I built a couple years ago is the North Carolina Transportation Museum. Again, I used a digital elevation map, a DEM, to create this, where it gave me the Google Earth or Google satellite view underneath everything, and then I kind of was able to lay everything out. But this is this is actually the North Carolina Transportation Museum in Salisbury, North Carolina. So again, this is quite a large map. Actually, it's not. It just feels large. It's not that big, but I did recreate the whole museum and the surrounding area, so it's totally possible to build this sort of stuff that's just very realistic, if you're willing to take the time and do some kit bashing with some buildings and, you know, experiment around a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, the Trainz 22 Platinum is on sale right now for $17.50. And Trainz 2019 Platinum is on sale for $10. We've also got some sales going on with our DLC, as well as some sales on Steam. So go check those out if you're thinking about upgrading. This is just a crazy route that's me and some friends were working on a couple years ago. It's missing some assets. It's just sort of degraded over the years, but this was just some fun industrial route that we sort of came up with and were playing around with. So lots of textures that you could play with, a lot of buildings that you could play with. Pretty much everything that you see here is on the download station, so it's all free to download. A lot of it is built into the game as well. So if you're new to the game, this is, you know, the possibilities are literally endless for what you can do. Somebody earlier was asking about the main central route that I was working on. Let me see if I could just show you. I don't even know which version it is, to be perfectly honest. But then that'll do it for today. So yeah, this is, if you guys are familiar with the main central series that was on my YouTube channel, we abandoned it because the whole route got kind of corrupted in a game update, among some other issues. We were passing the route back and forth. It was completely our fault, but this is the state that it is in currently, unfortunately. So there's that. Most recent project that I'm working on, aside from the P&B, is the New York Cross Harbor, which again is using a DEM for the convenience of knowing, you know, where to draw everything, so you can see all of they're called UTM tiles underneath. There's a specific program in order to do this. It's called Transdem. That allows you to port in the digital elevation maps as well as the Google Earth tiles. It'll also like lay out some roads for you and stuff like that if you want, but that's not, you know, necessarily something you want all the time. But the benefit really is that you can use the satellite data to see where your roads are and your industries and that sort of thing. So that's that. All right, so that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, learned something, or are interested in upgrading to Trainz 22 Platinum. But like I said, I'll be back tomorrow from 4 to 6. Let me know with a comment on whatever channel you guys are watching on, what you'd like to see, if you want me to continue on with the Dutchess and Hudson Valley Railroad, or if you'd like me to work on something else. Again, my specialty is more in route building than anything else, so route building specifically would be best. But thank you guys for watching and hanging out today, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day.